Tell me why this show insists on making me believe that the boy is Agatha's son if he's supposed to be Billy or have the spirit of Billy, Wanda's son? Tell me why. Before we start, just a quick thank you to everyone who's been sending nice messages about my troubles last video. Update. The flood did come, but it was very minor. It didn't really damage anything. It just flooded a little bit of the bottommost level of the house, but we don't use it. It's just storage, so it's fine. I think my mom's veggie garden was a bit messed up because she was complaining about it. All right. From the beginning, we get another verse of the poem or the ballad, whatever you want to call it, through many miles of tricks and trials. We will obviously get our first challenge this episode, but first... I'm sorry, what did you just say? Anyone can be a witch with a proper training? Is this canon to the MCU? Because I thought you had to have some kind of ability or be injected with something or something like that. Anyone can be a witch? How do you do that? How was it? The Disney logo? We find out that what the boy has is a sigil that someone put in him to hide him from the witches. Who did it? Who did that? Was that Wanda before she passed? And does this mean that her magic is still lingering? Is she still around? Y'all know what I want by this point. I get this feeling that Agatha knows exactly what is going on, but isn't letting on that she knows just because it's beneficial to her. You know, very much in the vine, very much in the same way that Jack Sparrow always was 10 steps ahead of everyone, and he didn't tell shit to anyone because he was beneficial to him. This is the vibes that Agatha is giving in this episode. And since we are talking about the boy, let's just get it out. Whose son is this? Who is he? Because in my last video, someone commented that this boy was supposed to have Wanda's son's spirit in him, Billy. However, the show keeps giving us hints that this is Agatha's son. Number 1, the potion's witch says someone needs to call this boy's parents, to which he says they're probably asleep. So in Westview, the boy has parents and potentially grew up with parents and potentially remembers his entire life and potentially doesn't involve either Wanda or Agatha. So it would make sense that it is Billy's spirit in him. But then again, number 2, the potions witch, again stirring up shit, goes to the boy and tells him that he can't trust Agatha because Agatha traded her own son for the Book of the Damned, and then we get a vision later on of Agatha freaking out because she goes to look at the cradle of a child crying and she sees the Book of the Damned. So in our minds of the audience, we think, oh, she did trade the boy for the book. I don't know what the lore says. It's been clear since the beginning that I am not up to date with the lore, so I don't know. Did she? But the kid stands with Agatha. And Potion's lady kind of implies that no one knows where Agatha's son is. And she says that the kid might be an agent to Mephisto. To this, the boy reacts. He has a reaction. Is he an agent of Mephisto? Oh, by the way, Mephisto is kind of like the MCU's 80s, right? Marvel superfans, comment again, please. Is he an agent of Mephisto? And could it still be Agatha's son? I don't know. Is this something that like the Marvel people release to the public that Billy's spirit will be in this boy? Or is this like a fan theory? I need to know. Is this in the comics and I'm just ignorant? Let me know. And the potions witch then turns to the boy and says, you know, Agatha might not even recognize her own son if he came knocking at her door. And again, the boy gives kind of a look, implying that he knows something. Or at least suspects something. 3. Agatha would rather drink the poisonous wine than give it to the boy. Hypothesis 1. She will need the boy later on for a sacrifice or to steal his power or something. Hypothesis 2. Why would she risk her life then? Because if she dies, she can't use him for a sacrifice anyway. Might as well just risk his life, and then if he dies, she just doesn't have as much power, but she won't be dead. Why would she risk her life if she only intends to use the boy for a sacrifice? Make it make sense. Hypothesis number 2 or 3, I don't remember. She actually thinks he could be her son and is not willing to sacrifice again. Or maybe she never did it in the first place and something else entirely happened back then. I mean, the room that we saw in the murder mystery hallucination was the room of a loved child, wasn't it? And if everything in the murder mystery hallucination has a representation to real life, wouldn't it be plausible that Agatha's son in real life was also a loved child that she would never sacrifice or trade for any kind of magic? What happened? Okay, moving on from this boy stuff. Who the hell was the Heart Lady? And why is she dead? And is the boy supposed to take up her place? Because I thought she might be some kind of witch without her memories, someone that Agatha knew or recognized, someone that Wanda knew, but she's dead? Was she just literally a random lady she picked off the street? And also, why did they say that she was so heavy? Because it's true that she's a tiny lady, so she shouldn't be that heavy. Why was she heavy? Is this the next trial, like already starting and she isn't actually dead? Are we going to see necromancy? I would appreciate that. I mean, I didn't say that. But did I? Necromancy. I don't know. Is it canon in the MCU? Necromancy? Is it something that has happened before? I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen it in a film. I don't think so. Maybe Ultron. Alright, first trial, potions. Also, it didn't escape me that the first trial is the most common activity associated with a witch, the most traditional or typical, the witch in the cauldron and all that stuff. It didn't escape me. Also, because back in the episode, they were talking about this, about how witches are misinterpreted as being these old hags who are doing spells or whatever. So I see some subtext about the way that witches have been represented and misrepresented in history, and I like it. First trial takes place in a fancy, fancy home at the beach that's very close to the potions lady's taste. So you know from the beginning that this is going to be a potions test. The door of the house is engraved with the phases of the moon. The clairvoyance witch, divination witch, points this out. However, the boy is the one who points out that it's in full moon, the phase of water, the water phase. And what happens while they're in the trial and trying to, gather the ingredients for the potion? They go underwater. Like the tide rises up to the point that the entire house is submerged. This pairs with what the boy said about the Heart Witch being a bummer for wanting the road to be over, gave me a tingling feeling that the boy might know more than he's letting on. Who is he? Moreover, when they are drinking the wine, the boy goes over to the Blood Witch because he recognizes the tattoo that she has of a symbol that wards off curses. This is right after the Potions Witch warns the boy about Agatha, and the implication here is that he might be starting to doubt Agatha, and this will escalate over the season up until a pivotal moment at the end or near the end. The Blood Witch tells him that she was forced to get a tattoo by her mother when she was 13, and the boy says, yeah, a lot happened to me as well when I was 13. And when was he 13? 3 years ago, when all the Wanda shenanigans were happening. So does this mean the mind control by Wanda, or does this mean the spirit of Billy possessing him? Possessing him. I'm not laughing because I think it's a ridiculous plot point. I think it could be good and interesting. I'm laughing because I'm so out of the lore of the MCU that it didn't even cross my mind to check if there were any theories. I just went with my gut and didn't care about anything else. So I guess that's the vibe for this season of television. I will not check the lore. I will just make absurd guesses and have fun with my own delusional theories. Anyway, from this conversation between the Blood Witch and the boy, we also find out that Lorna Wu, the mother of the Blood Witch, thought she was cursed. And actually, this is what we see in the Blood Witch's hallucination later. We see her meeting her mother at a point in time where her grandmother died or was, you know? And Lorna Wu tells her daughter, the Blood Witch that we see in Agatha's Coven, she tells her that their bloodline is cursed and that they're going to come after her. So the question is this why Lorna Wu is trapped at the road? Is this what happened to her? She just escaped whatever was coming after her and she escaped into the road? Because remember what we saw earlier in this season, actually last episode, we saw the Salem Seven coming for Agatha and Agatha escaping into the road and they couldn't follow her. So is this why Lorna Wu is lost to the road? Is she just hiding from whatever curse is coming after her? Back to the trial. As soon as they walk into that house, Agatha knows what's up. She doesn't trust anyone. She doesn't trust anything. They give her the wine to drink and she doesn't drink it until the thing with the boy. So, once again, I think Agatha knows way too much that she isn't sharing, or maybe she just has trust issues, because girls ain't. So, the potions witch identifies the poison, Hail Wife's Revenge. No idea what that is. And they spend the rest of the episode running around after ingredients for the potion and having hallucinations. Basically. We've already discussed Agatha's hallucination and the Blood Witch hallucination. Let's talk about the other ones. Mrs. Hart hallucinates with Wanda trying to hurt a loved one of hers and passes out. And this is strange to me because I know that she drank a lot of wine and I know that she did it way before the other ones, but they all have hallucinations and none of them passes out. Did this happen to her because she's not actually a witch? And can it happen to her because she isn't a witch now that we know that anyone can be a witch? You know what I mean? I'm just confused as to why she passed out and the other ones didn't. The potions witch hallucinates the man who stole her powers and tried to murder her. And later on, we actually get a scene where Agatha is trying to pump the potions witch up. And she says, you know, I've always hated you, but I left you alone because what you were doing was important work. So presumably, this is the work she was doing before the man stole her powers. What was she doing? And by the way, they can take your power, but they can't take your knowledge. Great line. I know it's meant for people like me to eat it up, but I do eat it up. Great line. I'm enjoying the subtext, or it's not subtext, it's very clear, but I'm enjoying this subtle hints of discussion about the witch spinster in modern society. You know, me. Anyway, the divination witch hallucinates with this young girl dressed in period clothing who guides her through the corridor into a room with a table where a woman in period clothing is kind of looking a bit dead and just looking at the divination witch. And then behind her, there is definitely a dead person in period clothing. In period clothing standing behind her. And these people are talking a different language other than English, so this witch has been alive a long time. However, I think that the divination witch's hallucinations started before that, because when she's in the bathroom with Agatha, she out of nowhere just says really loudly, "Try to save Agatha." And Agatha is very much like, yeah, that's the plan, let's go. But I think she was hallucinating something in her past. And we know that this hallucination has to be different from her main one, because in her main one, she's speaking another language. So who is the divination witch talking to? Because I don't think she was in Westview and trapped by Agatha's bullshit. So, New England? Witch trials, baby sacrifice, trading for the Book of the Damned. Was she involved? And that's it, my little pearls. I hope you enjoy, and leave me in the comments your delusional theories, or correct all of the things I got wrong in this episode, because possibly many. However, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying the references to modern witches because they are around. See you Tuesday.